Hello and welcome everyone. Today we will do the topic of critical reasoning, and within critical reasoning, the topic at hand today is assumption. Now, assumption for all the Harry Potter fans is like the Lord Voldemort. It's one of the most trickiest topics in critical reasoning, and a lot of people make mistakes in the fact of identifying the right assumptions. So, please pay attention to the lectures very carefully, and if need be, please look at it like a couple of times so that you get a fair understanding of what critical reasoning, especially from an assumption perspective, is. Let's move ahead. So let's understand first critical reasoning. Critical thinking or the ability to reason out critically is nothing but an objective analysis of facts to form a judgment. You understand different elements of a structure and then you create a judgment around it. Typically, from a critical reasoning perspective, this judgment is nothing but the conclusion. So we'll come back to this later as to who concludes, but you should remember that conclusion is always given by the author. Now, who's the author? The author is the one who's writing the text. So, in other words, as we have also seen in the intro video, when you break down the elements of a logic, that in reality is the point of critical reasoning. Let's now understand what are these elements that we have been talking so far. So, set of elements that form a logic. So, first is the point of premise. Now, premise is nothing but a set of given facts. So, anything which is fact, anything which you cannot deny in an argument is the premise. For example, if you say, since it rained, therefore schools will be shut. Now, what is the premise? What you cannot deny? What you cannot deny is the fact that it rained. So, premise is anything which is set of given facts. Second is the point of assumption, and we'll talk about this in the later slides. Conclusion, as I told you, is the main point. Is the main point, the essence, you can call it as the central idea, or finally something that the author concludes. So author always concludes. Whatever he concludes is the conclusion. And always remember, from the conclusion you infer. So inference is always given by you. When I say you, the reader infers, the author concludes. So if I were to write like this, C and I, C is always given by the author. Inference is always given by the reader. So that's the first understanding. There are other external parts of a logical argument as well. All these four parts that we had seen are basically the set of elements that form a logic. Now, beyond that, you can also increase the amount of argument by using something called as a strengthening argument. Now, strengthening argument, as the word suggests, strengthens the conclusion. So there is a conclusion and something which strengthens it. So when you mean strengthen, it basically means support. So any argument which is supporting the conclusion is the strengthening argument. Weakening argument will obviously be the opposite. So it should weaken the conclusion. So both should attack conclusion in the first place. Logical flaws or paradox. Now, logical flaws or paradox essentially refer to the flaw or the error that the author has made while trying to come to a conclusion. So these questions, when we go to these questions in subsequent lectures, we'll see what kind of questions come in logical flaws and how to resolve them. The fourth external part of a logical argument which can be extended is called parallel reasoning. Now, parallel reasoning, as the word suggests, is a reasoning which is similar in nature. So when you say parallel, I am talking about similar reasoning. So you apply a set of reasoning applicable to one perspective and apply that same reasoning in some other sense. That's when it becomes a parallel reasoning. Again, as we go on, we'll see more questions around this. I hope this gave you a good understanding of what critical thinking and critical reasoning from an element perspective is all about. Let's move ahead. Now let's understand the logical system that we have been talking so far. So first point is the point of premise, and premise, as I have already told you, it's a set of given facts that you can't challenge. So these are undeniable. So you can't deny it. It has to be true in all the cases. So facts are something that cannot be challenged in the context, and we have understood that. For example, since the pavement is slippery, you might lose your balance while walking. Now, you might lose your balance. So lose your balance while walking can be challenged. So it This may or may not happen. So therefore, it it is not equal to the premise. But what can't be challenged is the fact that the pavement is slippery. And since the pavement is slippery, you may or may not lose your balance. So the fact that you can't challenge this part in any system, whatever is contextually right, whatever cannot be challenged, has to be the premise. So this becomes the premise of this argument. Second point is conclusions contain the central idea of the argument. Basically, whatever the author tries to end the sentence with. Final point, final justification is the conclusion, and again given by the author. So there is an equation which we will follow. The equation states conclusion is a combination of premise and assumption. And think of it. Any system, any logical system, whenever you conclude something, you have a certain set of premise which you cannot challenge, and then you are assumed something on top of that. So when you combine the points, it becomes the conclusion. So conclusion is nothing but the combination of premise and assumption. Let's move ahead. Let's understand the topic at hand. Let's understand what assumptions are all about. Now, assumptions are nothing but the unstated premise. The premise that you have not stated in the argument, that makes or breaks the conclusion of any argument, is the assumption. In other words, assumptions are anything which you have thought before in terms of making the argument. Your assumption has to be true all the time for your conclusion or your statement to be right. For example, I meet someone on the road and I ask him, "Oh, you passed." Now, listen to the tone here. Now, so what have I assumed? That I was assuming him not to pass, but he passed. Now, I did not say that in my argument. So that's why assumptions are anything that's an unstated premise. Anything which is unstated, that builds upon my argument and creates the conclusion. And I'll go back to the last slide where we talked about conclusion is a combination of assumption plus premise. So my assumption is the unstated part. Premise is something that I can't challenge. Based on that, whatever I've concluded is the point of conclusion. So assumptions, remember, are before statements, something that you have thought before in terms of making the right argument. Let's look at a few characteristics of assumptions, and this will really help you to pinpoint what kind of statements can be categorized as an assumption, what kind of statements can't be categorized as an assumption. Let's look at the first one. The first one says assumptions are implicit by nature, and that's why they are unstated. So they are never given in the argument. If it's given, it is not an assumption. In other words, assumptions are not clearly stated in the argument. I hope this point is very clear. Second, the assumption has to be true for the conclusion to be true. And that's important because if your unstated premise itself is false, then you will not reach to a conclusion. So your assumption has to be true for the conclusion to be true. Third, assumptions are not consequences, and that's a very, very important point to understand. And lot of questions wherein they create an incorrect option are based on this point. Sometimes we assume that assumptions are something that's going to happen later, and we'll refer to this point when we do the question slightly later on. Fourth, assumptions should be directly related to the argument. Unknown relationships have to be avoided. Yes, any point, any option that you feel is the assumption has to have a direct reference back to the question. You cannot have a vague option having as the assumption of the specific argument. So a direct relationship, directly related, direct relationship is absolutely important. And the last point to understand are that assumptions are not restatements. So this point is absolutely false. Assumptions are never restatements. So it is again very logical because assumptions have to be unstated. And restatement would mean that they are stated. So do not reiterate the same argument given in the question stem. And a lot of people would do that. In basic questions, a lot of people end up repeating the same point as given in the question. So assumptions are not restatements. I hope these characteristics are very clear. Please go through them maybe one more time before you attempt this question. Let's look at this question. Identify the assumption. The question is, the teacher requested the student to bring him a glass of water. So the teacher wants the student to go and get the teacher a glass of water. Now please pause the video for 5 seconds. Think which of the following options, S1, S2, S3 or S4 should be the assumption. And come back to the video once you have got your answer to check whether you have got the right answer. Okay, let's look at the first option. Now, question is the teacher requested the student to bring him a glass of water. The assumption says the student will bring him a glass of water. Now, think of it. If I have thought student will bring him a glass of water, it's the choice of the student. He may not. So this point is a point of consequences, and we have been dealing with this. Let's go back to this point. Assumptions are not consequences. So anything which is a consequence, student will bring him a glass of water, student will not bring him a glass of water. All these are consequences. And both of them are absolutely wrong. Third, and most of you might think that this is the answer, the teacher is thirsty. But think of it. If the teacher is thirsty, is the only reason of bringing glass of water is the point that teacher is thirsty. Now, the teacher might just get the glass of water because he wants it for the heck of it. So, you don't know this. There is no direct relationship. So, there is no direct relation to the question that tells you that since the teacher is thirsty, that's why he needs the water. It could be because of any other reason that he would need the water. So this also is not the assumption. The assumption has to be this argument. And I want you to read this carefully one more time. It says the student knows from where to get the water from. And think, if I assume this is true, only then it makes sense for the teacher to request the student to get him a glass of water. Because if the student doesn't know from where to get the water from, then the whole point of asking the student to get a glass of water essentially is flouted and has no value. Therefore, this has to be the answer, and therefore your assumption is statement number 4. I hope this exercise gave you a good clarity in terms of how to understand and spot the right assumptions. Please go through the characteristic list again and use it for a reference to solve all the questions coming ahead. Let's go ahead. Now, as the last point to understand from a concept perspective, let's look at an approach to find assumption. Now, finding assumption is basically a 3-step approach. The first step tells you to read the argument or stimulus carefully and understand the conclusion or the argument for which the assumption is needed. And that's an important point. Not always will you need an assumption for the conclusion. Sometimes they might ask an assumption for a very specific argument in the sentence. So reading the conclusion or the argument is very important. Number 2, and this is what we will discuss, apply the negation rule. What do you mean by negation rule? Negation rule is basically if A says Ram walks to the temple, my negation will mean that Ram doesn't walk to the temple. So the point to understand is whenever you think that any option is the assumption, negate it. The negation rule states that if the assumption is negated, then the conclusion will not follow. Let's go back to our previous question of teacher asking to get a glass of water. One of the options that we were deliberating is whether the teacher is thirsty. Teacher is thirsty. Now let's assume this is the answer. So if you assume teacher is thirsty is the answer, let's apply the negation rule. And my negation rule tells me that if the assumption is right, then the conclusion will not follow. Let's negate it. It would mean teacher is not thirsty. Now think, if the teacher is not thirsty, can he still ask the student to get the glass of water? The answer is yes, which means this is the wrong assumption. Did you see how we applied this logic? We took an assumption and we negated it. And when we negated it, we again checked the conclusion. The conclusion should not follow. But in this case, the conclusion can follow because the teacher can still ask for a glass of water even if he is not thirsty. So that proves that this was the wrong assumption in the previous case. So if you take the right answer, which is the student knows from where to get the water from, and you negate it, then can the teacher ask the student to get the glass of water? The answer is no. Because if the student doesn't know from where to get the water from, there is no point asking him, and therefore that was the right assumption. So your negation rule really helps you to get to the right answer, and once you applied the negation rule, eliminate options as per that rule. Now I want you to again take a quick pause for 5 minutes and approach this question. Sorry, 5 seconds. It says apply the approach to identify the assumption. Now the question is very simple. It says since it's cloudy, it will rain. Now there are two options. Which one of these two options do you think is the answer? Let's look at the first one. Clouds cause rain. It's a restatement. It is already given in the argument, and restatements are not assumptions. Therefore, this is not the right assumption. Second, there is nothing else other than clouds that's causing the rain. So let's apply the negation rule here, that there are other things other than clouds that's causing the rain. Then if there are other things that causing rain, then saying since it's cloudy it will rain doesn't follow. Therefore, this is the right assumption and the right answer. So the assumption in this case is option number 2. Please go through my explanations again to understand how did we arrive from the negation rule to identify how option 2 is the right answer for the assumption of this question. So this brings me to the end of the concept lectures for assumption. In the next video, we will take up more questions from the practice set to solve more questions around assumptions. I would really want you to go through this video maybe a couple of times, because this is one of the areas which is a very vulnerable area for a lot of test takers. Assumptions questions will come in a lot of ways in the question, and understanding assumptions in the right way is absolutely important. Hope to see you soon in the practice video, and thank you so much for watching.